That video cost $500,000. I think we spent $400,000 on stock footage. We didn't shoot any of the things that weren't us at the cost of a director. Hi everybody, thank you for coming. So they already explained to you what's happening. I'll just start telling you some stories that I shared with these guys. So I'm a bass player, and when I started getting interested in playing music, it was pretty late in high school. I didn't have the 4-year-old piano lessons and stuff, thanks mom and dad. So I had a bit of a late start, and when I started playing bass, I started to join all of the different groups that my high school had to offer, the orchestra, and we had a jazz band, and we had a Dixieland band, which is different than the jazz band for some reason. We had a chamber ensemble, we had a string ensemble, and I joined all of them, even though I couldn't read music and played electric bass. Oh, and marching band, which I also played electric bass. On the sideline, while the rest of the marching band marched. On the football field or wherever we were, and because of sound and the way it works, I was never in time with the band. The band, and I would be like, So there was a band leader at my high school who was totally called me on my shit. She was just like, "You're not a musician, are you?" And I was like, and she nicknamed me Fingers. High school. While my job at the time was cleaning seafood for my dad. So I smelled like fish. My nickname was Fingers. Super easy time in high school. So it worked out. The nickname faded, and I ended up going to music school for about 1.5 years in Boston, and then came back to New York. I had sort of lost my way in school, and it was very expensive. And I had been home in New York for not even a year, and all my friends were still in Boston, so I wanted to move back to Boston. But I had no money, really. But because I was 19 or 20, I started getting loan offers in the mail. Crazy loan offers. Loan offers that you're not supposed to take. That every smart person knows, oh, this will end my life, this will be really bad. So I signed right up. And I took out a $10,000 loan from Citicorp, or Citibank, with an interest rate of 92%, I think it was. And I moved back to Boston, and I started selling weed and smoking weed and just play frisbee. I think I did that most of that summer. I worked at an Emac and Bolio's. Anyone know what that is? An ice cream. Yeah, it's an ice cream place. That's the only job. I think it's the only job I ever got fired from. And I had a face-to-face conversation with the woman who owned it when I was high, and she was telling me all the reasons why I couldn't work there anymore. And all I could think of was I gotta find another ice cream place to go to. So I was living with I'm not getting a text. I'm making sure I'm covering all the things I'm supposed to cover. So I had moved to Boston with all this money and went through it in a year without bills. I didn't have bills or obligations. I just flew through a ton of money until I got my first touring job that I got hired in Boston to play with this really strange band called, it's not that strange with everything else I've told you, Hypnotic Clam Bake. It's a real band. They've been around for 40 years or something. They're a hippie jam band. But they have a really unique, they play bluegrass and funk music and zydeco and some legit jazz kind of stuff, and it's all over the place. But the guy who runs the band is an insane person. Should I name him? That doesn't matter. His name was Maury Rosenberg. He was an asshole to work for. Fuck you, Maury. He's in Boston anyway. But we toured in the Bounder, which is the Breaking Bad RV. So when I saw Breaking Bad, I was just like, no! That was my very first touring experience, my very first touring vehicle, and they had it like outfitted for bunks, but they were built with like 2x4s and particle board. Like it was super dangerous to sleep on this thing, and yeah, I slept below the driver, who was a really formidable man, a very big man, and they put my bunk under his, and I was just like, why would we do this in the event of an emergency? Definitely I'm dead. But they did that. So when I joined this band with Maury, I joined with two other friends of mine, a guy whose name was a drummer named Rowan Kamani, and a guitar player named Ian McHugh. And when we auditioned, we got hired, we got ready to leave for the tour, we get in the Bounder with Maury, and Maury tells us that we're gonna get headed right to the first gig, but we gotta pick up Soup. And I'm like 20, and I was like, okay, Maury. Soup is a person. Soup's not Soup. Soup is a human being who became a really good friend of mine for years. Great dude named Campbell Dawson. Campbell Soup. So, but Maury had insisted to all of us that like this is a clean band. This is a sober band. I guess he had just fired a lineup of guys that were like real fucking train wrecks. And if you go to the Wikipedia later, if you want to amuse yourself, I think the former members column is most of the page. There's like 40 or 50 dudes that have been in that band. And some of their names are just, it looks insane. It looks like people made it up. We're all like pretending that we weren't like drug addicts, but like we're 20 years old in Boston, like everyone's doing something. So we were like, yeah, Maury, we won't do any drugs or drinking on the tour. And then we pick up Soup, and Soup's wearing like pants made out of stuffed animals, and like a hoodie on it that says "fuck me." He's got he was the first dude I ever saw not in New York City rock a flat rim baseball hat, like frontwards, and always sunglasses day or night, and always in one hand a one hitter, and in the other hand a plastic bottle a pill bottle that said melatonin on it, but it was weed in it. I don't know why he was so specific about the melatonin part. He loved that. He was like, everybody thinks it's melatonin. Nobody thinks it's melatonin, dude. No one at all. And Soup ended up being like, I don't know, like a pretty grounded dude. Like he was okay to get along with, and he played. So when Soup got on the bus, he looked like a crazy person, and he had like a bag, like a rucksack, and then he had a big plastic bin of what I assumed were instruments. And it wasn't. It was like those whistles that go like boo, and like eight of those. He had like the whole family of those, alto, tenor, and a washboard, which he played with thimbles on all 5 fingers on both hands, like that. And he played spoons, like 2 spoons. And he was pretty good at it. And one time we played a gig, I don't know why Soundgarden was there, but Soundgarden was there. Is this too old for everybody? No. Soundgarden has a song called Spoon Man, which features this guy named Artist the Spoon Man, who's also like a toothless crazy person who's just wicked good at the spoon. And when Soup and Artist met each other on stage during this like jam session and they started spooning at each other, I thought the fucking world was gonna end. Oh my god, there's 2 Satans, no! So, yeah, cool, thanks.